Red Torpedo. A dark descent into the depths of a man who does not exist. Jim Lockhart, a vigilante on a quest to aid the innocent, the helpless, and the stateless in a world where accountability is beyond the law. Salvaging Starman's flying star, Lockhart allies with the lost city-states of Merizonia, Abysmia, Nan Madol, and Strata against villains like Cave Carson, Stag Industries, and the Deep Six. Recently, Lockhart's allies have united to establish Windward Home, a floating embassy in international waters. And, to aid Lockhart in defending the embassy, are his newest allies, the Sea Devils. It was the end of the Silver Age. The Justice Guild was called before an anti-American activities committee. Robert Frank, the Streak, betrayed his teammates. Frank, a staunch conservative, revealed Green Guardsman was gay, that Wildcat hid black ancestry, that Black Siren was an adulteress, and that Tom Turbine was mentally unsound. Robert Frank became a ruined man. His wife, Madeline, divorced him. His patron, Mercury, reclaimed his gift. His views became obsolete. Desperate to reclaim his status, Frank offered himself to Project Helix. He assumed his heroic reputation entitled him to a second chance. His delusions were shattered when he overheard personnel refer to him as expendable. However, exposure to Yucca and Eternium enabled him to once again move at inhuman speed. Freeing himself of trackers and neural implants, he escaped. Resuming his heroic career, Frank encountered Mercury's newest chosen, Jay Garrick, the Flash. Jealous, Frank became Ort, the living comet, and recruited other rival speedsters to ruin Garrick. And Ort may have just enlisted his best recruit yet, Judy Garrick. Earth Zero has a royal flush gang. Earth 1 has a royal flush gang, and so does Earth 3. But more on why there are so many gangs in a later tour. For now, on Earth 2, the Royal Flush Gang function as a jackpot win at Roulette's casino parlor in Opal City. Post-apocalypse, mere gaming and sports betting just didn't cut it anymore. And so, Victoria Veronica Sinclair had an idea. While serving swill and loan sharking in a war-ravaged Opal City, Victoria gathered stateless girls of Asian ancestry for a new enterprise. If people were hungry, let them win food in a competitive fight. Same with medicine, baby formula, hygiene products, etc. While at first a fanciful and perhaps impractical idea, it worked. So well, in fact, that the corporation came to her with a business offer too lucrative to refuse. Black market auctions had been compromised by heisters. So, instead of auctioning illicit goods, why not win them in private gambling? Of course, Roulette just had to rig the tables for herself. And so the Royal Flush Gang was shuffled throughout to rob casinos of their illicit jackpots. Roulette even had the gang rob her casino for plausible deniability. But since it appeared Roulette had repelled the robbery, she was allowed exclusive jackpot rights in Maryland. And with those rights came a most tempting jackpot. Jack Hart. Attempting to erase all samples and data on Zero Fluid, he had ingested it. The fluid activated his dormant contraxion genes, awakening dormant cellular functions while enabling him with plasmatic powers. But the gang's best-laid plans skewed sideways, and the loyal royals were executed by Roulette's security. With the loose ends tied and loops closed, Roulette presented Jack with an offer he couldn't refuse: lead a new royal flush gang in exchange for the whereabouts of his father. Press your luck, Jack. Press your luck. A husband dreams of being a hero. For Wesley Dodds, that nightly quest began when he met Diane Beaumont, a famous mystery writer. Wesley always fantasized about being a detective, but settled on an unimaginative military life. And then came the Apocalypse War. Joining the World Army, Wesley found himself separated during the bombing of Toronto. In a panic, Wesley made his way to the bomb shelter where Diane would be. Along the way, swarmed by parademons, his recorder counted 40 kill shots. Eventually, he made it to Diane. On that day, Wesley earned the reputation as the Sandman for putting the enemy down for the big sleep. After the war, Diane wrote a series of wartime mystery books inspired by his deeds. It was then Dodds was approached by the Zeta Project. Canada needed allies, and the only allies it could trust was itself. Dodds would lead a new garrison, the Sandmen, to support the Alpha Flight program on Earth Zero. But before he departed for his tour, Wesley proposed to Diane. She said, yes. Wesley thought that if the moment was a dream, he wished to never wake. A husband dreams of being a hero. For Wesley Dodds, that dream came true. The illegitimate heir of Charles Delasny Sr., the founder of Delasny Studios, Graham Poldark was cast as the ghostly gangster in a remake of Nathaniel Dusk. As a middle finger to his paternity, Delasny sold the studio to Tom Pemberton, the former Tom Turbine. Down and out, Graham was picked up and taken in by his half-brother, Charles Jr. The brothers relocated to London, where Graham was signed to Walker Talent Bookings, while Charles was routinely away on business. When Graham was nominated for a BAFTA, he visited Charles to celebrate. Shockingly, he discovered Charles wearing a blue costume and dying in a hidden room. With his last breath, Charles uttered the words, "Night Raven." It was then the Shan appeared to claim the costume, weaponry, and data. No one answered Graham's grieving questions. Determined to see justice served, the actor chose roles wherein he could learn ambush, assassination, and investigation. While filming Nocturne, Graham discovered Night Raven's safe house. There, he learned his brother had been the Enforcer, a Shan who disciplined rogue manhunters. One of those rogues was Night Raven. To refine his skills and bait Night Raven, Graham donned the costume of the ghostly gangster from the failed Nathaniel Dusk remake. Now he is the Scourge of the Underworld, murdering the worst of the worst to see that justice is served. So hypnotically, Hypertime. The Scrier Society began as a mystery cult among the Akan people. During colonialism, the Scriers successfully resisted extermination efforts by the African Company of Merchants. Tenacious, the Brits eventually learned the secret of the Scriers' success. Anansi, the spider god. His stories were spun from the web of Hypertime. In their desperation, the Brits turned to a man they did not fully understand. Judas Traveller. He was also an immortal, scion of the Deer tribe. Judas began to weave his own stories. These stories changed a little every time he told them. These stories were, in fact, tactics in code. The ensuing chaos confused Anansi, and so the Scriers. Judas discovered the Akan had tangled the spider in its own web. In Europe, and later America, the Scrier Society became the silent partners and angel investors to the modern world. But Anansi has had time to spin a new tale. This is the year 2025. The place is Windward Home, an embassy on an artificial island. 250 men, women and children live here, each representing a different lost aquatic city. For the world ocean is the last frontier on planet Earth. Each day, these diplomats, scientists and workers meet new challenges on and under the sea. Protecting them are the Sea Devils, an elite guard ensuring peaceful coexistence between the surface and the undersea. Devils, strong. To our eternal shame. Seaboard citizens live by that motto. Decades ago, a mob banished the Justice Guild. But zealots do not define heroism or villainy. Time does, time and time again. 2025. Seaboard City seems haunted, but no not seems dear reader. Are these heroes ghosts of the past? Or of a hypertime wherein a great disaster sired a world of atomic knights, a Hercules unbound, animal kingdoms, and an eventual Badoon invasion? 1976. New York, the Dark Age. The Secret Society was a network of earthling and extraterrestrial criminals and conquerors who trafficked creation metals across the cosmos. Led by the psycho-pirate, the Society sought metals beyond the plentiful Yaka, Nth, and Eternium. The Secret Society included the Hacker Calculator, the Scavenger Fisherman, the Hitman Deathbolt, the Lab Spy Tamara Raan, Rogue Nova Garthan Sal, Conqueror Lady Styx, the Nihilistic Anti-Man, and terrorist for hire Tatterdemalion. Together they tamed the Mafia, enslaved terrorists, bought elites, coerced dictators, and bribed police across the cosmos in search of the ultimate weapon, X-Element, the 10th creation metal. But there was one force that could not be bought off, scared off, or killed off. The Justice Experience.